Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today's issue of the Neepawa Banner and Press is for Friday, May 9th, 2025. And right on the front, signs of spring, reaching out across the aisle. Across the region, greenhouses are getting into full swing with gardeners hitting the road in search of the perfect flower, shrub, or tree for their yards and gardens. In this photo, two gardeners were passing each other their choice of flowers at the A&B Dalrymple's open house and tea on May 4th. There's going to be more pictures inside. So, burn bans issued across the region by Joshua Jackson. Municipalities in Western Manitoba are starting to feel the heat with above-average seasonal temperatures, strong winds, and a severe lack of rain occurring in our area, which has prompted many local towns and rural municipalities to institute burn bans. The town of Neepawa's fire ban was activated on April 30th, and Chief Administrative Officer Colleen Sinchishan explained why the ban exists. It was put in place as a precautionary measure to reduce the risk of human-caused fires, protect property and lives, and preserve ecosystems, she said. They are implemented when fire danger is high due to dead and dry vegetation, strong winds, and increasing temperatures, making it easy for fire to ignite and spread. During the fire ban in Neepawa, no open-air fires of any kind are permitted. The CAO noted this restriction applies to all backyard fire pits in parks and campground, and solid fuel-burning appliances, including charcoal and wood-burning barbecues. Generally, using a propane barbecue is permitted as it is a contained unit and does not emit sparks or embers, said Sinchishan. However, precautions must be taken even with a barbecue to mitigate any risk or potential risk of fire. If you get caught starting or having a fire within the town, you could get a fine or worse. In the instance that a person's actions cause a fire, that person can be held liable to the town for the recovery of all costs of all emergency response service incurred by the fire department, and can also be held liable for damage to any property, warned Sinchishan. Fire bans are generally lifted when fire danger conditions improve, typically due to moisture, reduced winds, or a decrease in any overall wildfire situation. The town will assess moisture levels in vegetation, current and forecasted weather conditions, and the overall regional wildfire situation, said the CAO. Sinchishan urges residents to stay informed about fire bans and fire restrictions, as well as understand what is and isn't permitted during a ban. The importance of prioritizing safety, avoiding activities that could spark a fire, and being extra cautious when smoking is key to saving lives and property, whether a fire ban is in place or not, she said. RMs enact fire burn bans as well. Alongside the town, many other municipalities in the surrounding area have also enacted a burn ban. The municipality of Glenella Lansdowne has an active burn ban, including outdoor burning like fire pits, burning barrels, outdoor fireplaces, and burning barrels. The municipality of Rosedale enacted a burn ban. All burning, including fires contained within fire pits, solid fuel burning appliances, and burning barrels, are prohibited. The municipality of Westlake Gladstone implemented a burn ban on April 30th, restricting all outdoor fires involving the burning of grass, leaves, crop residue, bushes, open pit fires, and burning barrels, alongside restricting the lighting of fireworks. The RM of Alonza, excuse me, the RM of Alonza has banned all open burning prohibited. However, fires contained in approved fire pits and propane or gas appliances are allowed if used responsibly. The RM of Cornwallis burn ban notes that all fires are prohibited between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Fires outside of those hours must be in an approved campfire pit. Motorized backcountry travel, including ATVs and other off-road vehicles, is prohibited during specified hours of 8 a.m. until 8 p.m., and burn permits issued are cancelled and will not be issued until fire danger conditions improve. Also under a fire ban is the town of Carberry, the municipality of North Cyprus Langford, and the municipality of Glenborough South Cyprus. And the Kalina Green Memorial fundraiser to return for a third year. And pictured hundreds turned out to support the Remembering Kalina Green Memorial and fundraiser held in Carberry in 2024 by Casper Warehan. Support, remembrance, laughter, smiles, and a sense of community. These can all be found in Carberry at the grounds of the R.J. Waugh Elementary School on May 24th, with the return of the Remembering Kalina Green event. This event first began in 2023 to honor the life of Kalina Green and to raise funds for Carberry's future splash park. This overlap was inspired by Kalina's lifelong dedication to the communities she has lived and worked in, as well as her love for recreation and adventure. In line with this, the event also traditionally includes a 50-50 draw benefiting R.J. Waugh School, as Kalina was a teacher there for a portion of her career. These themes have remained consistent since its inception, while also inviting all who have experienced loss to come out, enjoy the evening, and remember their own loved ones. The 2025 event is no exception. All who wish to are invited by Kalina's family to attend the event on May 24th to share memories of Kalina and their town loved ones, wear their favorite color, and share photos. Participants are to gather at the R.J. Waugh Elementary School grounds at 3 p.m. on May 24th, having the option to engage in either a 2-kilometer walk or a 5-kilometer run, with a barbecue to follow. There will be a silver collection on site, and a 50-50 draw will benefit R.J. Waugh. Donations for the splash park can be accepted on site that day by check to Town of Carberry or by e-transfer to townofcarberry.ca. Donations should be directed to Carberry Splash Park in honor of Kalina Green. And a traffic stop nets massive cash seizure. These large bundles of cash were found and seized by the Manitoba RCMP recently by the Banner staff. What began as a routine local traffic stop in the RM of Mintowadana has turned to a large seizure of cash for local RCMP. On Tuesday, April 29th, at around 2 p.m., officers with the Manitoba Roving Traffic Unit conducted a stop of a vehicle on Highway 16. The driver, who was the lone occupant of the vehicle, was stopped as a result of a violation of the Highway Traffic Act. As a result of the investigation and search of the vehicle, a large amount of Canadian currency was located and the vehicle was seized. The driver, a 24-year-old man from Stony Plain, Alberta, was arrested and then later released with a future court date. The Manitoba's RCMP traffic unit continues to investigate. That's a lot of money. Excuse me. And right in the center by Ken Waddell. May 8th is the 80th anniversary of Victory Day in Europe. May 8th is a very significant date for the whole world. It's of special importance for Canadians and Manitobans. It was 80 years ago, on May 8th, 1945, that World War II came to an end in Europe. It's known as VE Day, or Victory in Europe Day. We have devoted a bit of space in our 3 papers to exhibit how the respective front pages of our papers looked right after the May 8th, 1945 date. We are fortunate to have almost complete, albeit very fragile, archive pages in our possession. In Verdun, we have actual copies back to the late 1890s, Rivers to the early 1900s, and Neepawa back to 1896. These old pages make for fascinating reading. The retail prices are unbelievable by today's standards. The cost of dresses, boots, shoes, overalls, smocks, and tools are a far cry from today's prices. Wages were much lower than today as well. The VE Day page in this paper is found on page 8 of this week's edition. World War II, WW2, was a war that united the world in a way never before seen in human history. Millions upon millions of people died in an effort to defeat Nazi Germany and Japan. According to historians at the Canadian War Museum, 7,760 Manitobans died in the service of the war effort. 61,543 men and women left their Manitoba homes to fight or to serve as doctors or nurses or other military supports, and almost 8,000 lost their lives, often in terrible conditions. The Soviet Union lost the most people, as around 27 million Russians died during the war, including 8.7 million military and 19 million civilians. According to Wikipedia, the history of Canada during World War II begins with the German invasion of Poland on the 1st of September 1939. While the Canadian Armed Forces were eventually active in nearly every theater of war, most combat was centered in Italy, northwestern Europe, and the North Atlantic. In all, some 1.1 million Canadians served in the Canadian Army, Royal Canadian Navy, Royal Canadian Air Force, out of a population that, as of the 1941 census, had 11,506,655 people, and in forces across the Empire with approximately 42,000 killed and another 55,000 wounded. During the war, Canada was subject to direct attack in the Battle of St. Lawrence and in the shelling of a lighthouse at Estevan Point on Vancouver Island, British Columbia. My uncle, James Aiken Waddell, served in the Royal Canadian Navy in the North Atlantic. He actually saw German U-boats in Halifax Harbor. The U-boats also went up the St. Lawrence River. The Battle of the St. Lawrence was an extension of the larger Battle of the Atlantic. The German campaign during the Second World War to disrupt shipping from North America to the United Kingdom. Between 1942 and 1945, German submarines, U-boats, repeatedly penetrated the waters of the St. Lawrence River and Gulf, sinking 26 ships and killing hundreds. It was the first time since the War of 1812 that naval battles were waged in Canada's inland waters. I hope that readers will take a few minutes to read the tiny faded print on the World War II pages of this week's paper that give just a brief glance at what happened in Canada and to Canadians in World War II. Then go to the internet and check out our history. It was a horrible time for the world and for Canadians. Please learn from the stories you find, and please, please understand. It could happen again. In some parts of the world, it's already happening. Excuse me. Home Buddies by Rita Friesen. Remembering old neighbors. In my early years, neighbors were immensely important. Most of my first decade was lived surrounded by immediate family. We lived on my paternal grandparents' yard, could see my maternal grandparents' homestead, and had many cousins within a 10-mile radius. The school was filled with family, as was the church. Then my parents relocated. Now, the distance is but 35 minutes, but back in the 1950s, that was too far to travel for coffee klatches. My mother was one of 12, and her 6 sisters were all close in age and interests. Our new community was eclectic in ages, nationalities, and customs. In our very rural area, we needed one another. The party line was key to keeping in the know. Each household had its gifts and quirks. I will forever be thankful for a matriarch I called Grandma. Grandma W. had a house full of family, only 2 of them younger than I was. And there was always room for me, for a meal, for a play, for a sleepover. Not having brothers I appreciated that the boys, they were boys back then, not the men they became, considered me another sister. What a gift. They tormented me along with the other sisters and protected us when necessary. To this day, that home, those wonderful, loving folks influence me and who I have become. To the east lived the T's. Oh my! Mrs. T was meticulous in her housekeeping, her homemaking, her accounting. She kept meticulous books down to recording the nickel ice cream she treated herself to in town. She shared of her time and bounty. Apples from the old fruit trees filled bowls on many a farm home table. Their car was never too full to include another child on a church or fun run. That was long before seatbelt regulations. And that party line, she was the first to know what was going down and let you know. Sharing a home section was another family, a bit younger than my parents, and of a different background. Hard-working, God-fearing, good-fenced neighbors. For a season, Mrs. H taught school where I attended, what we would now call middle school. Two things stand out with my memories of her. One, I was brave or brazen enough to address her attitude towards some of my fellow students, farm lads who were doing their very best, and that wasn't considered. And secondly, I'm certain Mr. H had some say, gave her oldest son and oldest daughter the mother's maiden name as the child's middle name. Not uncommon, but the first I had witnessed. Those were the closest in distance. My parents treasured many friendships. One of the most treasured was with the W family. Both Mom and Mrs. W were talkers. I have no idea how they decided when to switch turns. They often used a quiet moment in the afternoon to make a catch-up phone call to simply touch base. That family was mostly boys, and ours was all girls. Many memories made. To this day, neighbors are important to me, and I value them. And Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroshine. Thank you, Mum. From the moment she first feels the stirring that tells her she is carrying a tiny human in her body, three powerful emotions embed themselves in a mother's heart and mind. The first of these is an unconditional love. A bond of love is established at conception, and it never stops growing. The radiance of a mother's love will be seen when celebrating the highlights of a child's life. Birthdays, graduations, marriage, and children's children, especially them. Its resilience is seen in hard times, as in the tears of a mother sheds after a miscarriage, or the hours spent caring for a sick child at home, or sitting beside the hospital bed of a child who has just undergone major surgery or is battling cancer. As time passes, mothers get older, and so do their children. But there is one thing about the relationship that never changes. A mother may be 85, and her children may be aged from 50 to 65, that they will always be her babies. She will not stop loving, caring, encouraging, or even traveling across country to help a child in need. A mother's love is the closest thing we will ever find to the love St. Paul describes in 1 Corinthians 13. It is patient, kind, humble, considerate, believing, trusting, and unending. Children may abuse, misuse, or even forget about their mother, but she can never do the same to them. Only her death can break that bond of love. The second powerful emotion is hope. Mothers are eternal optimists. They never stop hoping or believing that their children will be happy, healthy, working in jobs they love, and enjoying life with families of their own. They know that the path to such a life will be different for each child. For some children, the transitions to different stages of life will be smooth. Their mothers will beam with pride as they see those children go through life without any setbacks or serious disruptions to their education, work, or family lives. But for others, the road ahead is filled with challenges and setbacks, problems in school, addictions, fractured friendships, broken relationships. Some children find ways to overcome their addictions, cope with emotional challenges, and recover from the heartaches and heartbreaks they have experienced. And in their corner, cheering them on, is a devoted mother who never stopped believing they would succeed. Sadly, some children don't recover. Their lives end far too soon, sometimes under the very tragic circumstances, and no one grieves as long or as deeply as a child's mother. A child's death leaves a hole in a mother's heart that no one else can ever fill. The third powerful emotion is faith. For every mother, the day will come when the last child has left home, the last meal has been cooked, The last phone call, the visit have been made, and she knows it is her to leave her body behind and enter the life that awaits her in the eternal home of a loving and caring God. She has done her job, and she has done it well. Now, as hard as it may be, she releases her family into God's care and says her last goodbye. What she doesn't know is that at her death, her children will shed as many tears for her as she shed for them. And for the rest of their lives, they will say, "Thank you, God, for our mother. And thank you, Mum, for your legacy of unconditional love, hope, and faith." And from the beautiful Plains Museum, a picture from the Dinwoodie Block Fire. Pictured here is a scene from the Dinwoodie Block Fire, which took place in July of 1914. Mr. Dinwoodie had built a block in 1905 after he had lost his business in the Opera House fire of the same year. Robert A. Govenlock later had a business in the block. He sold McLaughlin buggies, and when the car came in vogue, he had the agency for Studebakers and Chevrolets. He also had the International Harvester Agency and de Laval Cream Separators. Mr. Louis Vivian bought the block in 1927 and remodeled it to house the second King Edward Hotel. And we have some thumbs up and thumbs down. A thumbs up and a heartfelt thanks to the Hutton family for their incredibly generous donation to the U9, U11, and U13 baseball teams. Thanks to your support, each team has received 2 brand new sets of catcher's gear. Your generosity means so much to our players, coaches, and the entire baseball community. We truly can't thank you enough. And that is from Neepawa Minor Baseball. And a thumbs down. A thumbs down to bicycles and scooters using the sidewalks as roadways. News and notices from the town indicate otherwise. Perhaps the bylaw personnel could take action. From Ann Nielsen in Neepawa. And we end with a thumbs up. Thumbs up for a very quick response to a reported tripping hazard on a busy sidewalk. From Christine Waddell of Neepawa. And we have a letter to the editor. Oops, I'm losing my paper. Poor losers. This letter is from Rob Bjarnson of Carberry. I am wondering how many people have watched the special coverage of and reflected on the Liberation Day ceremonies and remembrances in the Netherlands. CBC provided top-notch coverage and commentary on the World War II campaign that helped free the Netherlands from the Nazis. It highlighted the immense sacrifice of Canadian youngsters who unselfishly answered the call to fight against racism and genocide. It also showed the legacy of gratitude the Dutch have to those extraordinary Canadians. A few weeks earlier, they also had outstanding coverage of Holocaust remembrance, which recognized 80 years since the end of the Nazi concentration and extermination camps. It's up to us to never forget, and that's even more challenging in a divided, angry world filled with 24/7 op-eds, podcasts, social media rabbit holes, and misinformation. If anyone thinks Alberta is justified in wanting to separate or are pouting because the Tories lost a free and fair election, I feel sorry for you. Our heroes who made a perilous journey to foreign lands to fight for others' freedom, Europe, Korea, Afghanistan, Bosnia, to name a few, had a Canadian flag on their uniform, not a provincial one. Talking about separatism and continually airing grievances is a disservice to their sacrifice. Your glass is full, but you see it as half empty. If you're waiting for the country to improve or win the lottery, I have good news for you. We won the lottery when we were born here, and we have much more to celebrate than complain about. Ask a Ukrainian displaced person, a Russian teenager forced to fight for a dictator, any number of people struggling just to stay alive in dire circumstances around the world. I recently listened to Roger Whittaker's Canada Is, to help block out some premiers' perpetual whining about how they have been mistreated and taken advantage of by Ottawa. Sounds like echoes of that orange guy to the south whose country has been so badly abused by all other countries. Confederation is great and will always be a work in progress that is worth the effort. Listening to entitled, privileged First Worlders complain all that time hurts my ears. The Premier of Alberta proclaims support for Mr. Poilievre, but perhaps not his Canada First slogan. As the Beatles and ELO said, "We can work it out and don't bring me down." Go Jets and go Canada. And Out of Helen's Kitchen by Helen Drysdale. Oil cans and omelets. The story today comes from my hometown of Rocanville, Saskatchewan. Ernie Siemens moved to Rocanville in 1922 and purchased a blacksmith shop there. He was a tinker with no formal education, but a natural-born mechanic. At that time, threshing machines needed oil constantly, and it was essential to have a reliable oil can. Many of the oil cans sold were not reliable, so Ernie set out to create one. He patented the oiler in Canada, the United States, England, and France. Not able to get a manufacturer, he decided to make them himself. In 1936, he outgrew his small shop, so he built a factory. That factory turned out oil cans by the thousands, and soon his oil can was well known in any businesses that required a reliable oil can. His oil can, with a long spout and the handles made out of number 9 fence wire, became his trademark. Siemens oilers were used in the Arctic by the Ford and GM plants in Windsor, farmers, mechanics, and the military. During World War II, the oil cans were greatly in demand for the maintenance of aircraft, tanks, and other military equipment. Wartime production saw up to 30 employees, mainly women and girls, making the oil cans. In 1943, 65,000 were sold, and more could have been made if not for the shortage of metals. During the war years, when new cream cans could not be purchased, Siemens began retinning old ones, doing 1,500 before new cans were on the market again. He was a smart man with an ability to fix just about anything. Take it to Siemens was the answer to just about any difficult repair job in the prairies. His factory was expanded in 1952. The sawtooth roof plan factory was designed by Ernie Siemens himself, who had no architectural training. This design increased the amount of natural light entering the room while minimizing glare and preventing excess heat. It was constructed with large wood beams reinforced with steel rods, allowing for a work area to be unobstructed by support columns. That old factory building is now being restored. In 1973, Rocanville Museum Day was renamed Siemens Day for the year in recognition of 50 years of continuous operation of the Siemens oil can factory. Rocanville decided to erect a giant oil can scaled exactly to size to recognize Ernie Siemens' efforts. Goodman Steel and Iron built the huge metal can that was 28 feet high. Rocanville is recognized as oil can capital of the world. If you go to a health food store, you will find a product called Siemens Supermix. After years of standing on hard concrete in his oil can factory, Siemens developed severe arthritis and sciatica. While researching natural ways to improve his condition, he learned of the healing properties of alfalfa. Ernie went on to market a greens mix using ingredients grown on the Canadian prairies. A blend of alfalfa, cut at the pre-flowering stage, millet, buckwheat, rose hips, and barley. The barley has now been replaced by kelp. Ernie's philosophy was to supply the body with necessary nutrients that are not overly processed, chemically treated, and devitalized in the food supply. This super mix, around since 1940, became renowned throughout Canada and the United States. When I was a young teen, my siblings and I would pick rose hips for Ernie, wearing leather gloves to earn spending money. And in the tune of health, Helen has included an asparagus and spinach omelet recipe. And Hope Spring Food Drive by Lena Stadnick from the Hope Group. It is time of year again for the Neepawa Area Collegiate Hope Group to take part in their annual spring food drive to support the local Salvation Army Food Bank. In April, the local food bank served 135 people, representing 59 households in our community, so it is evident that we have some needs in our community. To help fill our local food bank, on May 14th, the Hope Group will be hanging bags supplied by the Neepawa Rotary Club on all doorknobs in our community. We are asking the community to contribute, if you can, to fill these bags with donated food items such as rice, baking supplies such as flour, sugar, oil, salt, pepper, and other spices, canned meat and fish, canned fruit and veggies, canned, ready-to-eat, stews, chilies, pastas, peanut-free granola bars, and school snacks, jam, peanut butter, cheese whiz, Nutella spreads, Kraft dinner, pasta, ramen noodles, pasta sauce, ketchup, mustard, relish, instant coffee, shelf-stable milk, and toiletries such as shampoo, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and deodorant. On May 20th, the Hope Group will be coming around in the evening to collect the donations and take them to the Salvation Army to be given to people in need. The Hope Group asks that you leave your bag in a visible area by 5:30 p.m. on May 20th. Monetary donations are also accepted. If your home is missed on pickup night, please take your bag to the Salvation Army or call them at 476-5869 for it to be picked up the next day. The Hope Group and the Neepawa Salvation Army thank you in advance for any support you are able to contribute. And a profitable year for the Heritage Co-op. Local cooperative hosts 96th annual general meeting in Minnedosa by Owen Devereaux, and pictured is, well, it's not a real check, but it's a check for $4 million. Equity and cash back. 2024 was a very successful year for Heritage Co-op, both on the ledgers and in the communities they serve. On Wednesday, April 30th, the local retail cooperative held its 96th annual general meeting in Minnedosa at the Community Conference Center. The gathering provided an update to the co-op members on the latest financial results. In 2024, Heritage Co-op reported total sales of $26 million, while the cost of goods sold were around $225.4 million. As a result, Heritage was able to confirm that its member equity return is $4.14 million for the 2024 year, of which $2.5 million will be returned to eligible members in the form of cash payouts. This allocation is shared among our membership based on their individual purchases made throughout the year. In his report at the AGM, Heritage Co-op Board Chair Ian Gerard noted, "This cash repayment supports the cooperative principle of member economic participation. Returning cash to our members is a boost to our local economy, and in so doing, strengthens our communities and keeps 100% of our profits local." CEO Leanne Delverge, who joined the Heritage Co-op in December, was reintroduced and provided the public an overview of her insights since joining the company. "We are built to last, future-focused, and ready to serve our communities for generations to come," said Delverge. "Our team and our history are both major assets. We win together, and we have a strong, sustainable future ahead of us." Stepping away from the financials, Heritage Co-op also reported that its Creating Community program was very well received. This endeavor sees the cooperative out and about in all 7 communities they operate within. For 2024, they participated in 26 different community events and made 258 donations of various sizes through its Community Support Fund. As well, 9 community projects were funded by the Community Development Fund. And a Board of Directors update. One of the final parts of the AGM saw the appointment of the Board of Directors. For the year ahead, there are 3 returning directors through acclamation: Eric Bjornson, Keith Murray, and Brad Ross. Each of these directors will serve a 3-year term. Other members who are still serving include Mel Birmingham, Ian Gerard, Lorinda McMillan, Alison Noto, Gerald Cathcart, and Randy Brown. Heritage Co-op serves more than 34,000 members in Brandon, Minnedosa, Wawanesa, Erickson, Sandy Lake, Strathclair, and Rivers. And here we come to the VE Day page. 80 years since World War II ended. Victory in Europe, VE Day, celebrated May 8th, 1945. And the printing is quite small, and I don't think I'm going to be able to read through it correctly, but the headline is European Peace Declared. And there's columns from correspondence in Arden and District, citizens overjoyed by news, celebrations are spontaneous. And there's a wedding announcement, and diet in Britain low in palatability, so I guess the food wasn't that great. Famous bomber circles Neepawa. A mosquito bomber flew around Neepawa. It had 213 operations in the over the Atlantic. Norgate airmen presumed dead. One of the sad parts of the war. National leaders announce end. Celebrations began Monday. Victory Loans puts out news seat. And Premier sends VE Day message. And that's just a portion of the front page from May 10th, 1945 edition of the Neepawa Press. And another picture, Old Canada, Minnedosa in 1910. Pictured here is a view of Minnedosa around what is estimated by the Old Canada series to be the 1910s. This picture is perhaps a particularly interesting one for the readership due to the time period. One of the many things that could be pointed out in this image is the mixture of cars and horses in use, though cars appear to be most predominant in this scene. If anybody has additional information about this photo, they're welcome to contact Casper at the Neepawa Banner and Press via newsroom@neepawapress.com. And I don't know if you can see it in the bottom of the corner here, but there's horses and wagons and a lot of cars. These days I think we call them jalopies. And moving on, the Little Valley Jamboree names date beneficiaries for 2025 by Joshua Jackson. And pictured as the beneficiaries for the 2025 edition of the Little Valley Jamboree, left to right are John Jacob Bernardo, Brooks Davis, and Odin Herbert, or Hebert. The Little Valley Jamboree is back to help families in 2025. The Volunteer Run Festival takes place June 13th and 14th at the Erickson Rec Center in Erickson, Manitoba. The Jamboree serves as an annual musical festival to raise awareness, support, and funds for children living with special needs in the area. The Little Valley Jamboree started in 1998 and has been helping children for nearly 30 years. The weekend includes kids' activities, silent auctions, a live auction, and places to purchase food and drinks. The lineup features an incredible slate of local talent, including roots rock musician Mitchell McCoons, repeat Little Valley Jamboree performers, the new Highway 25 Repaved, bluegrass and country band, the Stephen Smith Trio, and 80s pop and party band, the Clubbing Fraggles. This year, the Jamboree will be helping out 3 families, including one from Neepawa. John Jacob Bernardo. Jacob is 8 years old and attends grade 1 in Neepawa. When Jacob was around 4 years old, his parents noticed that unlike his other children his age, he still wasn't communicating using words. His family tried several speech therapy sessions, hoping they would help, and it was during this time that a psychological evaluation was recommended. Jacob was diagnosed with autism at 5 years old. Although he is nonverbal for now, that hasn't stopped him from finding unique ways to connect with his family. Jacob loves books and is endlessly fascinated by animals, plants, and all the wonders of the world. He often brings his family a book, asking them without words to sit with him and read. Brooks Davis. Brooks is a 2-year-old boy from Souris. A day after Brooks was born, the nurses noticed he was experiencing seizures. This led to an MRI where they discovered the presence of a brain bleed. He was flown to Winnipeg and monitored at the NICU at the Health Sciences Center. In November 2024, Brooks was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, spastic quadriplegic epilepsy, and hip dysplasia. These conditions affect his ability to move and maintain his balance and muscle tone. The symptoms of these conditions are controlled by multiple daily medications. Brooks attends daycare in Brandon, one of his favorite places to be, as he gets to play with the many friends he's made and benefit from the staff's care. And Odin Hebert. Odin is a 6-year-old boy who hails from Brandon. His journey began when he entered this world 10 weeks early, spending 6 weeks in the NICU before finally coming home days before his first Christmas. Odin's family noticed that he wasn't meeting the same milestones as his 2 older brothers. After many visits to the doctors and specialists, Odin was diagnosed with a rare form of epilepsy called infantile spasms just before he was 7 months old. His diagnosis was followed by several others, including cerebral palsy, cortical visual impairment, and global development delay. These conditions impact his vision, muscle tone, mobility, speech, and his ability to eat by mouth. Odin loves music, dancing, and school. At school, he cruises in his walker, flashing the biggest smiles. Tickets range from $20 to $30 and are available at the gate. Visit littlejamboree.com for more information. And we have our home and garden section. The benefits of lighting your landscape. Homeowners know there's no shortage of ways to tweak a property. Some homeowners may lament that the work associated with home ownership is never done, but owning a house also provides endless opportunities to upgrade the spaces people call home. Landscape lighting has become increasingly popular in recent years. That popularity is undoubtedly due to a number of variables, and each highlights a benefit of installing a landscape lighting around the property. Affordability. Some may think of big budget projects like kitchen remodels or room additions when pondering home renovations. Such projects can have a dramatic impact on the look and feel of a home, but landscape lighting can be equally transformative at a fraction of the cost of larger undertakings. The home renovations experts at Angie.com estimate the average landscape lighting project costs around $4,000, making affordability a notable benefit of the project. Appearance. There's no denying the aesthetic appeal of a well-lit landscape at night. Landscape lighting can be utilized to draw attention to awe-inspiring components of a landscape, whether it's natural features like gardens and foliage, or man-made components like architectural features. Improved appearance can increase curb appeal, which is often associated with how a home looks during daylight hours. But photographs of a well-lit nighttime landscape can impress buyers as well. Cost savings. Landscape lighting might help homeowners reduce the cost of their homeowner's insurance. Researchers at polygenius.com found that insurance companies typically offer a discount of 2 to 5% to homeowners who install a home security system. Insurance providers may offer additional savings to their homeowners who pair such systems with landscape lighting, which can be a deterrent to burglars who prefer to operate under a cloak of darkness. Safety. Insurance firms may discount premiums because of landscape lighting because they view it as a deterrent to potential criminals. But landscape lighting also makes moving around a property at night safer for residents and guests. Lighting can be used to illuminate walkways, outdoor living rooms, patios around pools, and other areas where residents and guests will be walking at night, which can reduce the risk of falls and injuries that may result from such spills. Landscape lighting adds notable aesthetic appeal to a home at a fraction of the cost of other renovation projects. The benefits such lighting provides make the project one every homeowner can consider. And wise watering strategies to help a lawn thrive. A number of factors can affect how well a lawn or garden takes root. Watering is a key element of any landscape care strategy, and one that homeowners should educate themselves about if they want to maintain a lush, healthy lawn throughout summer and spring. Homeowners hoping to keep their lawns lush and green throughout summer can learn some effective watering strategies to achieve that goal. Check the irrigation system. WaterSense, an EPA partnership program, advises following 4 steps at the start of spring. Inspect, connect, direct, and select for clock timer-controlled irrigation systems. Make sure the system doesn't have any clogged, broken, or missing sprinkler heads. Examine points where the sprinkler heads attach to pipes or hoses to make sure there are no leaks. The EPA says even a leak as small as the tip of a pen can waste 6,300 gallons of water per month. Adjust the sprinkler heads so that they only hit the landscape elements rather than the sidewalks or driveways. Align the watering schedule with the seasons. Invest in an impact sprinkler. An impact sprinkler on a tripod can be an effective option for those without built-in irrigation systems. These sprinklers rotate in circles to help deliver an even spray of water that mimics rainfall. It's easy to adjust their spray pattern, and a sprinkler on a tripod can spray over the top of bushes and gardens and flower gardens. Drip irrigation systems are superior. According to Rainbird.com, Drip irrigation tubing and emitters slowly distribute water to the right spots of a landscape. They can be placed at ground level or buried underground. Water soaks directly to the roots, minimizing water loss from runoff and evaporation. Some research suggests drip irrigation can effectively cover 25% more area than the average sprinkler system. It also tends to deliver more than 95% water efficiency. Skip the schedule. Watering a lawn or garden should not be ruled by a schedule, but other factors that will determine when water is needed, suggests Family Handyman. Daytime temperatures, wind conditions, soil type, lawn type, and recent rainfall will determine how much water the landscape really needs. Overwatering can be just as bad as underwatering. For those with underground watering systems, water sensors can trigger the system to turn on rather than a time on a clock. And avoid midday watering. The sun is hottest in the middle of the day. Watering during these times means that much of the water will be lost to evaporation before it can get to thirsty lawns and plants. It pays to be smart about watering. Homeowners can also consider rain collection barrels to offset municipal or well water usage and be more eco-conscious about their watering efforts. And springing to life gardening season begins, and pictured are pictures from starting in the upper left corner, the greenhouse in Neepawa. Below that, flowers from Parkside Garden, watering can with pink flowers from the pink petunia, and Neepawa Home Hardware Garden Center. And pops of color and more at area greenhouses. And again, greenhouses in Neepawa and the surrounding area are full of flowers, as well as items such as planters of different sizes, colors, and shapes. Pictured top and bottom left, scenes from within Parkside Gardens, showcasing rows of colorful flowers, as well as a view of the full space, in which a variety of hanging planters can be seen. Above left, cute little turtle planter was one of the variety planters on display at the pink petunia. And above right, a close-up of one of the flowers at the greenhouse in Neepawa. And we're on to sports now. Blizzard win MJHL Turnbull Cup and Game 7 triple overtime. The Northern Manitoba Blizzard won the MJHL's Turnbull Cup in triple overtime over the Dauphin Kings. For the first time since 2003, the Northern Manitoba Blizzard are the Manitoba Junior Hockey League champions. Quincy Supreme secured the Turnbull Cup title for the Blizzard at 14:03 of the third overtime period on Thursday, May 1st. The goal made the final score 2-1 for the Northern Manitoba over the Dauphin Kings in Game 7 of the Turnbull Cup final. Alexander Andre opened the scoring for Northern Manitoba in the first before the Kings tied him up at 1-1 off of a Declan Hode opportunity late in the second. Both goaltenders were great in the game and the series. Tay Timmerman made 55 saves in the Blizzard net, while Kings goalie Cole Sheffield stopped 26 shots in the loss. The Northern Manitoba Blizzard now advanced to take part in the 10-team Centennial Cup National Junior A Hockey Championships that runs May 8th to 18th in Calgary, and they'll play the first game of the event against the Trenton Golden Hawks. And teeing off a new season in Neepawa. Neepawa Golf and Country Club opens for 2025 by Joshua Jackson. Golf clubs around Neepawa are finally opening their doors for the season, and local golfers are dusting off their clubs, ready to hit the links and shake off the winter rust. The Neepawa Golf and Country Club opened its doors for the season on April 26th. Crews have been working on prepping the course leading up to the opening date. General Manager, head golf professional Landon Cameron, details what the club does to prepare the course for opening after the off-season. Coming back, it's usually the planning stages. The first month of being open is quite busy, and there's a lot of behind-the-scenes planning of tournaments and group lessons, he said. Cameron described some of the changes you'll notice when you head to the course this year. We are in the middle of redoing the structure of the sixth green. We had some issues with our underground drainage, so we are redoing it and making it better for the future. Our grounds crew redid the 18th tee box last year, and it has come through the winter and is playable now. The course has wintered exceptionally and is ready for play. Popular league nights return. The club boasts the same leagues and nights as last year, such as Tuesday morning senior men's leagues, Thursday morning ladies league, and Thursday night men's league. We do have an open Wednesday women's night. It's a new and exciting format from last year, and we are only hoping to build off the success of last year, said the general manager. We also have a promotion on Mondays where you can tee off for $16 with the rental of a power cart. With a full slate of leagues, new promotions, and course improvements, the Neepawa Golf and Country Club will once again be a lively hub for local golfers, whether returning regulars or first-time visitors. Players can expect a welcoming atmosphere and a course carefully prepared for the season ahead. The course does its own talking, and our grounds crew has the course in great shape already. We look forward to showcasing it to our golfing public, he said. Spring is an exciting time in the golf industry, so we're looking forward to seeing everyone at the golf course. And the Club 55 Bowling Awards for the 2024-2025 season. League champions, the Long Shots, Lori Kohinski, Frank Parada, Russ Taylor, and Janice Abstrider. High single, Elsie Slimman, 306 ladies, Daryl Gabler, 296 men's. High triple, ladies, Elsie Slimman, 691, Daryl Gabler, 672 for the men's. High average, Elsie Slimman, 186 in the ladies, Daryl Gabler, 173 in the men's. Most improved bowler, Tara Ross, +7, and B. Betts, +7 ladies, and Ian Gregg, +11 in the men's. Bowlers of the year, Elsie Slimman, +139 in the ladies, Daryl Gabler, +48 in the men's. Congratulations to all the bowlers. Our 2025 bowling season will resume on September 11th, 2025. For the love of the game, Rick Sparling's new book explores local Senior A baseball by Owen Devereaux. And pictured is Rick Sparling in his new book, Manitoba Senior Baseball, South Central and Westman. If you have any knowledge of Neepawa and area's rich history, in one way or another, you probably have Rick Sparling to thank for it. For over 20 years, Rick has chronicled everything from local businesses and buildings to homegrown hockey and beyond. And now, Rick has turned his attention to another beloved sport, baseball. Manitoba Senior Baseball, South Central and Westman is the latest retrospective put to pages by Sparling. The prominent author, who was raised in Neepawa but now resides in Winnipeg, has put together a chronicle of 75 years of local baseball. From the 1950s to modern times, the book is filled with statistics, stories, and pictures on Senior A baseball, with a special focus on the Santa Clara League. Sparling told the Banner and Press that he grew up with a special affinity with that level of play, and for his local team, the Neepawa Cubs. I was looking for one more book to do, and I had been a Cubs fan ever since I was just a kid, so it just came about through that combination. I've always had a love for the game of baseball. I hadn't played much of it as a youth, but watching the game was always something I enjoyed, and this gave me an opportunity, in a way, to revisit those years. I was a fan of the clubs and of local baseball, Sparling said. The gathering of information for the book began just over a year and a half ago, as Rick started contacting teams for help. He said the existing clubs in the Santa Clara League were tremendously helpful. I received a lot of help from representatives from all the teams. Either they had details for their own local clubs, or they were able to contact someone who had the type of information. I was fortunate as a few were even able to help me track down information from clubs that are no longer around, Sparling indicated. With something like this, you want to be as thorough as possible, and I think I was able to do that thanks to their assistance. When I initially came back out to the area for picture and articles, I had so much collected that I could barely fit it all in the car. There were binders and binders worth of clippings and Tupperware containers full of photos and whatnot. It was a lot of work, but it's been worth it. The history is not just focused on the Santa Clara Baseball League, however, as the Neepawa District League, the South Central, and even the Manitoba Senior Baseball League are all given attention. As far as the Manitoba Senior League, we cover all the seasons and have pictures of all the league winners in there. We talk about the Neepawa Farmers baseball legacy as much as possible, and then at the end, a few tall tales and funny stories along the way. As part of giving back to his community, Sparling stated that all profits from the book will be given to local minor baseball. The cost will be $50, and order forms can be picked up at Gellin Small Agencies in Neepawa. And the Neepawa Town Council meeting by Owen Devereaux. While the first meeting of May for Neepawa's Town Council was a relatively brief 30-minute affair, that doesn't mean there still weren't some important municipal matters to be covered. The most notable item from this gathering was the confirmation of a councillor resignation. Following the last council meeting in April, administration received the resignation letter of Lisa Pottinger. Pottinger, who had also served on council back in 2010, threw her name back into the political ring again in 2022 and was rewarded by receiving enough votes to rejoin council. Council accepted Pottinger's letter of resignation and thanked her for her tremendous commitment to the job and the community at large. As for the now empty council's chair, a by-election will be scheduled for as soon as possible. Details will be made public shortly. And councillor reports. Councillor Yvonne Sisley provided an update from the latest Economic Development Committee meeting. The weekly themes from the Recreation and Day Camp were released, and it is noted that the returning staff from last year are already preparing and organizing the summer season. A spring fever bike race has been scheduled for May 25th at the High Life Back 40 Park. The Silver Club Initiative is planning a cybersecurity session for May 27th at 9:30 a.m. at Arts Forward. You can register at the town office. The next babysitter's course is set for June 27th. Neepawa has received grant support for the development of a new economic development video, as well as support for the Business Retention and Expansion Program. As well, Economic Development Officer Marilyn Crew is working on a home ownership workshop to help residents understand the ins and outs and process for home ownership, banking, building requirements, and more. Councillor Jason Nadeau attended the most recent local library board meeting, and he said that anyone interested in getting involved is welcome. And continuing, final approval of town's financial plan delayed. On May 5th, Nadeau attended the Yellowhead Center board meeting. He reported that preparation for next year are underway and looking good. Currently, the board is examining its options for making additional funds locally and exploring its fundraising efforts. Councillor and Deputy Mayor Murray Parrott provided a brief update on Arts Forward's efforts within the communities and asked the public for its support. He also shared that a Winnipeg Jets whiteout party is set for Mother's Day. Manager of Operations Denise Saquette informed Council of upcoming work on local storm sewers at the industrial park. As well, the town has picked up the asphalt patching machine it had rented for the spring and should be able to bring that road work soon. Some tree removals were recently performed along Main Street. Replanting will occur in the near future. Financial plan delay. The plan of approval for the 2025 financial plan for the town of Neepawa has had to be delayed due to having to wait for approval from Manitoba Municipal Board on a garbage bylaw. Despite the town forwarding that bylaw request to the provincial board well over 2 months ago, Neepawa is still waiting for the approval. Because of that, the town cannot officially proceed with its second and third reading of the 2025 budget. These financial details must be submitted to the province by the municipality each year by May 15th. But because of the municipal board's delay, council has requested and should receive an extension to approve the budget at its next council meeting set for Tuesday, May 20th. Tax levy clarification. Councillor Darrell Gerard closed out the council meeting with a comment related to the municipal tax plan for 2025. There's been some confusion over the 7% levy per 100,000 assessment value. Gerard assured that does not mean a 7% increase in taxes. A 7% increase in assessment doesn't mean individuals had a 7% increase in the assessment of properties. The 7% increase in assessment for the community is also the result of new construction, as in new ratepayers that have come into the community as well, said Gerard. And don't want to miss any of these pages. And local athletes shine at National Karate Tournament. Pictured from left to right, Sonia Mans, Gail McGill, Braylon Morgan, Haley Murray, Peter DeBeer, Sensei instructor, Kathleen Morgan, instructor, Shane Morgan, Jerry DeBeer, and Brandon Morgan. The atmosphere was electric this past weekend at the Oak Park High School in Winnipeg, Manitoba, as 53 participants from Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba gathered for the 2025 JKA Canada National Karate Tournament. Competitors ranging from young yellow belts to seasoned black belts showcased their skills in a high-energy display of discipline, technique, and sportsmanship. The tournament featured kata, kumite, and team kata demonstrations. Participants represented over 11 dojos, with an outstanding performance coming from the Neepawa Karate Club, Neepawa Shotokan Karate Club, established in November of 2024. Excuse me. Despite having the newest karate club within Manitoba and only 7 athletes representing the club at nationals, Neepawa Shotokan Karate brought home a whopping 16 medals from 6 different categories. Shane Morgan brought home the first medal for the newest club, a gold medal for individual kata in the female 14 to 17 yellow belt category, adding another gold and a bronze to her collection later in the day. Shane said, "I wanted to come and have fun and hopefully win at least 1 bronze, but a bronze and 2 golds is much better," while showing off her medals. Shane and her sister Braylon and a fellow club member, Haley Murray, received gold for their outstanding performance in team kata, earning them scores of 5.3s and 5.4s based off an average of 5. Official praised the Neepawa Shotokan Karate Club for their dedication, respectfulness, and their amazing sportsmanship. Plans are already underway for the 2026 JKA Canada National Karate Tournament. Family Fun Day at Arden's Crocus Festival. Pictured here at the top, are some scenes from the 2025 Crocus Festival held in Arden recently. Some of the activities from the weekend, as can be seen above, included pony rides and other sources of family fun, such as juggling. History and hats at the Neepawa Banner and Press. Christine Jacobson Perlmutter, pictured left, was in town last week with her school days friend, Senator Mary Lou McPhedran, pictured right. Perlmutter and the senator went on a tour of the Neepawa Banner and Press archives with publisher Ken Waddell. Perlmutter was shown here admiring the first edition of the Neepawa Press, dated from 1896. Seen at the right, McPhedran loves hats and was ecstatic to take a picture with Waddell, who was wearing his own iconic hat. An honor fit for a king. On Friday, May 2nd, Senator Mary Lou McPhedran, second from left, came to Neepawa to present a King Charles III Coronation Medal to Dave Bennett, second from left. Joining in the second from right. Joining in the presentation was Jody Byram, MLA for Agassiz, and Neepawa Mayor Brian Headley. Bennett was joined by a group of friends and family for the occasion. Senator McPhedran was raised at Neepawa, and Bennett was one of her school teachers. Bennett was awarded the medal based on decades of community service. He said, "I simply looked for a job that I wanted to do and offered to do it. I was rarely turned down." And we'll move on to Looking Back by Casper Werhan. 125 years ago, 1900, Franklin. It is with regret they announced the death of Willie Hale of this place. A week ago today, he was attending school. On Monday morning, he died after 4 days' illness, which was very sudden indeed. He was a boy developing into manhood, of exceptional ability, a favorite with his school companions, and one whose loss will sadly be felt by all with whom he was acquainted. Glensmith. A great many new buildings will be put up here this summer. A church, a store, and a blacksmith shop will be erected near the school, and a number of farmers are enlarging their houses, stables, and granaries. Glensmith. George Beacon Blacksmith has settled down here. He is at present working on W.P. Tammans Place until he gets his own shop erected. This is the kind of a light we have been looking for, and he will be a beacon to be the farmers in this district. 100 years ago, 1925. Arden, Harold and George Brown were successful in capturing a nest of wolves on Saturday, the old mother and 11 young ones. Note, Gorge may possibly be meant to be George, but this is how the name appeared in the original print. Eden, a tinsmith has moved to town and will open a shop in the old Methodist church. May 12th has been designated National Hospital Day, but is neither an assessment nor a collection day. You are just asked to think about the hospital, its use to the community, and your responsibility towards it. W. Baxter has ceased to be caretaker of the post office building, and W.H. Worrell has been installed. Mr. Baxter resigned some time ago, the same to take effect on May 1st. It is understood that Mr. Baxter has other occupation in view. 75 years ago, 1950, with the alertness and dispatch of a well-organized army, citizens of Neepawa District on Tuesday and Wednesday banded together into a mighty marching line for the effective arrangement and control of an expected influx here of some 700 persons, a fraction of the present 14,000 made homeless by the unprecedented flood conditions of the berserk Red River. Because of low visibility and the exceptionally heavy weight of his load, pilot Dan Brownbridge of Regina was forced to skirt the Metropolitan Stevenson Field at Winnipeg and make a prudent landing on the runways of Neepawa's airfield. Brownbridge's cargo consisted of nearly 2 tons of sandbags, the urgent request of Winnipeg flood fighters in their struggle against the unprecedented madness of the merciless Red River. The bags were quickly transferred to the Canadian Pacific Railway and left Tuesday on the 118-mile journey to the city that has been stricken by the worst flood in history. A delightful program, was first part of which was devoted to Bach commemorating his bicentennial, was given by the Neepawa Studio Club Friday evening under the direction of Mrs. G.H. MacDonald, which, with the advanced pupils of Gerald Diath, teacher of piano at Neepawa, presented a pleasing variety of select competitions. 50 years ago, 1975, and pictured the Neepawa Order of the Royal Purple Lodge won the district trophy for the highest average attendance in May of 1975. Pictured is immediate past honored Royal Lady Della Ewell, accepting the award from Marjorie Seuss of Langruth. This was the 7th year the Neepawa Lodge took the attendance award. The pool elevator at Eden, which had become a recent landmark because of its crazy lean towards the north, will soon be no more. Workmen are nearing completion of their demolition project on the elevator, which will not be replaced in its present location. Instead, a huge 160-bushel elevator will be constructed in Neepawa to service the area. Construction on the new elevator, which will be similar to the elevator at Hart, is expected to commence late May or early June. During 1970 to 71, while the people of the Carberry area were busy looking closely at themselves and the community in the REACT program, one of the recommendations made was that a new elevator to serve the Carberry Plain should be located at the junction of Highway 258 and the Canadian National Railway. On Saturday afternoon, while the sun tried to peek through a rather chilly sky, nearly 300 people turned out just a short skip west of that junction to help United Grain Growers open the newest elevator in Manitoba, a 150,000-bushel high-throughput facility that meets the recommendations of that community report of a few years ago. 20 years ago, 2005, the staff sergeant of the Mercury-based Westlake RCMP detachment says concerned meth labs are making their way into rural areas. 2 weeks ago, Westlake RCMP busted a Kilwood man for growing marijuana and tobacco. Officers who raided the Mary Street home also found chemicals, including paint thinner and red phosphorus, that could have been used to make methamphetamine, a highly addictive street drug. Standstore Limited has restructured its financing, allowing the company to reopen 142 stores across Canada, including the Neepawa outlet. John Haley of Neepawa is trading in his day job for a 6-month peacekeeping mission in Jordan. And that concludes the reading of the Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, May 9th. I hope you enjoyed.